After we moved over to our new house, the kids increased, and the kids found their way to entertain themselves. They didn't have a lot of friends because they had each other, and we were on a main street, and you know, they did have a couple that were across the street. Randy Johnson was probably the one that I remember the most, and they do too. Some of the memories of the kids at home playing outside, one of the most prevalent in my mind is Jim playing in a mud puddle, and his diaper was hanging down to his knees because he'd been sitting in the mud, and crawling up on the swing sets, and playing baseball, making their own baseball field, and
their own rules.
Yeah. Einie over, kick the can, Mother May I, all those old, good, clean, fun entertainment. Russ one time asked me, it's when he was older, and we were talking about the kids and how many worked at the factory, and I said, Russ, I said, how do you feel, because you have about 6 of your sibs that are working here, and how do you feel about that? He said, Mom, he said, we had work ethics from the time we were little, and you don't find that kind of work ethics in people nowadays, and so I feel really fortunate that they are working for me. The golf course, they put in a putt-putt down the street from us, on the other side of Grandma's house, and the kids that used to be, when we go to the fair or the homecoming, we'd give them some money and they'd go out and take rides and do, you know, whatever, play and so forth, and pretty soon they'd be back for more money. And I don't know if it was the second or third time I said, now this is all you're going to get. Well, when that golf putt-putt came along, they started earning their own money, and they would get was a dime or a quarter for a dime for a bucket of balls. Every bucket that they picked up, and the bucket was about this big.
It was a driving range.
And they would get a dime. So they earned their own money for the homecoming that year. And it was the strangest thing, because they had their own money, and when they came home, they still had some of their own money, because it's spent a lot harder when they knew they worked for it. But that's just part of, you know, the starting of the work ethics.
Yeah, I can remember the kids real well when Jim Jacobs started that driving range, and our kids would go down there right before dusk, and they would work for half an hour till it got dark and they couldn't see no more, and they would be picking up golf balls. They couldn't be picking them up while they were hitting them, so they had to wait till they were done hitting the balls till they could go out there and pick them up. So they had to go out kind of towards closing time and pick these balls up. And Jim Jacobs always said that them kids were the best ball picker ups that he had ever seen. He said they really done a good job. And I think this led on then to other work ethics. Like Russ always had a tremendous work ethic long before he even had his own business. You know, like I can remember one of the first jobs that he had, if it wasn't the first, it was one of the first couple, was working at Waldeck's, and them old ladies in there just loved him. They thought, you know, knew that Russ would do anything for them. If they needed a box brought from the upstairs down, they'd send him to go get it and take out what they needed and send him right back up with it. So he was like a real gopher for him. And Jim always had a good work ethic. The girls all had good work ethics. A lot of them as waitresses in the restaurant, and they was all well thought of by their peers. So we feel real good about the work ethic of all our kids.
Well, and then we can't forget the infamous coming home to find our living room carpet in the backyard. It was wearing out, and we had talked that we really would like to get a new one, but we had no money to get a new one. But one night we went away, and Deb and Cindy and Kathy got this idea. You know, Mom said she'd like to get this out of here, so let's get it out. So we walked in the door and we looked. Hi, what happened? Well, you said you wanted the carpet out, so we took it out. Well, that was really good. It looks much better now. Yeah, you did a great job. And our mind was thinking, what the hell?
That was something, I'll tell you. That had to be that roll of carpet was like 24 foot long and 12 foot wide. Yeah.
Just the worst part for him was getting it out the regular back door from the laundry room, getting it out that door.
Yeah, it would have been easier for him to take it out the living room door and carry it around. Or roll it around.
When Deb got old enough to go to kindergarten, and this is a point of contention with us agreeing on who was where, we called Aunt Mary Ann. She lived over off of Beach Street.
Yeah.
And they lived upstairs there, and I called and asked her if she would watch the other ones while we went and got her registered. So we took them over and we got them out of the car, and all of a sudden I'm saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Honey, we only have 5 kids here. Brandy is missing.
Russ is missing.
That's our contention. So we rushed back to the house, and coming around the house from the back was little Randy with a broom or a rake or something that he was carrying behind him, just pulling it along, and never even missed it. Never even missed us. What happened to the one that went out in the street?
Well, her daddy just happened to be coming home one day when she was out there, and he seen her. And I think that was possibly the only time I ever pulled my belt off.
Yeah.
Have you still got marks from that, Tim? Huh? You could have, because I really strapped you hard. I wanted you to remember it.
Well, I'm sure if you'd strapped her a little bit, she would have felt it, and that, yeah, I think was all you did.
I think so. I know she got off the street and she never went back out there, so that's what made